Welcome to this pick a card reading. I'm going to do it slightly different because trying to set up everything where the cards are laid out on the table, and it just seems too awkward and unnatural for me. So at the moment I'm going to be reading cards this way. This is how I'm used to reading cards, especially on live on Facebook and TikTok. So this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm hoping that you can connect to your cards this way. So welcome to your pick a card of what is in your shadow that you need to face that can help you heal. On these pick a card readings, I focus on healing and empowerment. I focus on helping you through personal growth. Other tarot card readings are wonderful when they give you your future and what it is you need to focus on. But I quite often find what is lacking in the tarot community is looking through into the darkness, uncovering the things that are holding you back, working on the pain and the wounds. And it's not until you learn to work on the pain and the wounds, it's not until you learn to heal what you need to heal within these wounds do you create the life of peace. Do you learn to build resilience, learn to connect, learn to bond, learn to let go, learn to face fears. I use psychology alongside my intuitive ability to connect to the cards. I'm hoping that each message that you get is a message that's going to help you. We're going to be looking at card 1, 2 and 3 of what in your shadow needs to be brought forward for your healing. Welcome pile 1 to your card. And we're going to be looking at what is in your shadow that is being called to be brought forward. Pile 1, what you're being called to bring forward is, and what you're called to be and work on in your shadow, you are connected to fear-based behaviours. Pile 1, from what I see here, that you are chained to the fear of losing people, the fear of life changing, the fear of you will hate change. Pile 1, what I see here is there's behaviours that are self-sabotaging, and this is leading you to feel trapped. The self-sabotaging behaviours are making you believe that there's growth that's occurring, but it's not. It's cyclic. It means the cycles that are occurring. And this could mean that there's friendships or relationships that you're in and you believe may be grown to some degree because maybe they're saying sorry or they're taking accountability or some things are changing. But actually there's still quite a lot of negativity that's amongst it. And remember, this is a card reading for the collective, so not everything is going to resonate with you. Pile 1, some things will resonate with you and some things won't. Just take what you can and let go of what you can't. I feel here, Pile 1, that you are quite connected to narcissistic people, whether you realise this or not. You are pulled in by people who are wounded, who you're trauma bonded to. And a part of your healing is recognising that the wounding in the people that you have around you is needing to be faced. So we're going to look further at this, what's in the shadow. What is the shadow of pile 1? I feel that for many of you, you either have narcissistic parents or you've got a narcissistic partner. You may be still with them. And you may make a lot of justifications and excuses, and I'm not here to tell you to leave them, but what I am here to tell you is to recognise how detrimental the behaviour really is. You can't thrive and grow in connections that stifle you, that maybe bully you, that maybe work on control. And even if this isn't in a relationship, this could be in friendships. Maybe you have friends in friendships that are just want a lot from you or controlling of you or expect you to be a certain way. Part of your reading in your shadow is look for the connection in others and how potentially they are traumatized and they're not helping you in any way, in the sense of the bonding is not quite there. And this may see that you might need to start being more accountable for what you accept. Start growing so that you can start unchaining yourself. So if this is with parents or friends, not kicking them out your life, but recognising that their wounded behaviour is impacting you. What's in the shadows that we need to bring forward for pile 1? Absolutely. So what's in the shadows is you are trapped with not wanting to see the truth of situations around you. This doesn't necessarily also have to be narcissistic people. You're almost wanting to stay trapped in the illusion of what life should be or is, instead of facing up to that things need to change. There is newness that is coming for you, but you won't be able to embrace that newness if you don't let go of some of the old. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that you have to let go of people. It means that you have to recognise the behaviours for what they are. You have to recognise how it's impacting you. I feel for you that you justify a lot of situations that you're unhappy in because, well, that's your lot, or you don't know how to make it any better, or you don't know how to strive for more. So you're being asked to start to be really honest with yourself. Is your life really making you as happy as you think it is? What situation, and this may be one situation in your life, is holding you back? That you're allowing yourself to hope is going to change, or just accepting? This may be two people or two situations that you're still allowing to occur in your life, even though it's pulling you down. This could be that you're in a job that is that you're not happy in, but you're so scared to let people down, or you're so scared to leave something that you know that you're staying in this job. Whatever it is, you're tolerating something that is not bringing you peace no more, and you're being asked to let go in some way of the illusion that this is just going to be okay. When something doesn't make you happy, it doesn't suddenly make you happy overnight. You can't stay in something that makes you unhappy and hope that it's all going to be all right. It's going to keep gnawing away at you. It's like a cliff edge. We can build a house on the cliff edge knowing that right now the cliff is not going to give way, but that does not mean that over time the sea, the elements, the rain is not going to erode that cliff edge. So it's by being honest with yourself that yes, you're not going to move out now or change now, but actually in future there's going to have to be some provisions that are changed. So here it's showing me that you don't feel happiness right now because there's stagnancy in your life. You are afraid of change, pile one. You are afraid to let go of what you know. So again, this isn't necessarily people, this could be situations. You're afraid of the unknown. And that will lead me to believe and feel that in your life you've had a lot of chaos, whether it's in childhood or early adulthood, where you've had a lot of change around you that you had no say over. And this has led you to internalise that change is not good, change is unempowering, change is scary. Change is scary, very scary. But change is happening every minute of the day, whether you connect to that change or not. Every minute that goes, time is changing. And everything is going to change, whether in you or around you, whether you commit to that change or not. And the difference is, if you don't commit to being a part of that change, it changes without you, and then you're thrust with the ends of shit. And what that means is, when you're in a job that you don't like, and then something goes wrong, either you're sacked or you're made redundant, and you're forced to face change, it all feels sudden, but really it wasn't sudden. You're being finally forced to face the change that you needed to face prior. So this is about allowing yourself, I'm trying to make sure that the postman isn't coming here, allowing yourself to recognise that change is important, that change is key. Nobody likes change because change is uncomfortable. But what happens when we stay in comfortable positions? Stagnancy. So you have to face that change is occurring all the time, and you can either flow with that change, tapping into yourself and feeling that change, or you can resist it. And with everything that was resistance, I feel for you that a new beginning, it actually is occurring, that's going to bring you great joy, but you don't see it as joy. This could be a new house, a new job. This could be a new part of the relationship, but you're focused in grieving what you don't have no more. So you've gone through something that has been really heavy, that has created a lot of change in you, but you're grieving. So this could be grieving of self. So it's almost like you're stopping change because, you know, you're grieving an old sense of self. You're grieving what life isn't, instead of looking and appreciating and embracing that what change is bringing is newness. And every time change brings something, of course you have to grieve the old. You have to grieve what it is you're losing. You have to grieve what it is, you know. But if you stay caught in what things should be and what things were, you're not embracing what things could be and what you can create them to be. And this is saying here that you're constantly chasing your tail, trying to find happiness in things that make you comfortable. You're not going to find happiness in things that make you comfortable, because things that make you comfortable don't challenge you. And when you're not challenged and when you stay comfortable, again, it brings stagnation. So it's important for you to bring out of the shadows the ability to not allow change in. And when I say actually not allow change, you might say, well, I do face change. Well, no, the likelihood is you face change that's comfortable. As long as you prep yourself for, and it's something that you are bringing in your comfort zone, change is fine. But actually, change that needs to happen that isn't comfortable, change that is off the cuff. And I also feel that this is in relationships also. I feel that emotionally, there's a part of you. So this is like a few messages in the shadows. There's a few of you on here. So some of you have things in the shadows where you're unable to let your stubbornness go, that you are unable to say sorry, or you're unable to accept other people's apologies. That change, if somebody has hurt you, that's it, they're out the game. Or if you've got it wrong, you'd rather push somebody away than admit you've got it wrong. So for some of you, there's a part of you here that to bring out of the shadows, you have to bring in the healing of learning to take and be accountable when you've got something wrong. That actually everyone gets things wrong. About allowing the gift of other people getting things wrong. Recognizing that just because someone's done something wrong initially to us doesn't mean that they're not going to change and grow. And it doesn't mean that they really meant to do that. So allowing the change of a relationship to occur, allowing forgiveness to come in where it is. I'm not saying necessarily for the narcissistic people here you have to learn to forgive them, but there's other people that you can learn to forgive. Especially if this is part of you who have got narcissistic people in your life, you may struggle with forgiveness to anyone because you've been so wounded by those people that have hurt you that you struggle to allow anyone in. That the minute they hurt you, they're gone. The minute something goes wrong, that's it. You don't allow relationships to change and grow. And every relationship and friendship has to go through conflict. I do feel that for a part of you, that what you need to bring out of your shadow is the expectation that life should look different. When you accept that your life is the way it is for a minute, that's you accepting that you can't change what is going on for the minute because other things have led to now. But what you can do is you can start on working on your healing to create a different future. But for many of you who are on pile 1, your emotions, you're very disconnected from. And part of bringing into your shadows to face change and to face letting go of people is connecting to your emotions. Connecting to the uncomfortable feeling that you get when change is occurring. Connecting to your emotions of sadness and grief. The more you try to just get on with life and bypass them, the more those emotions stack. I ask you today for yourself to put your hand on your heart and say, I'm ready to connect to my emotions. I'm ready to start feeling and validating my emotions for what they are. I'm bringing out of the shadows the suppression of emotions. Emotions are important. Emotions are valid. But it's what you do with the emotions that's key. If you allow the emotions to keep you stubborn and stuck and not moving forward, then you're not really feeling your emotions. But if you validate that all your emotions are real, how are you going to heal them and work with them with others? How are you going to make the changes no matter how painful? Every change and growth is not easy. But by committing to yourself to grow, you have to recognise the importance of learning to do it. Not even myself finds change easy at times. And it's never about denying that change brings emotion. It's never about bypassing the emotion that comes with the change and just getting on with it. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's about feeling the emotions of uncertainty that come along with it and validating it. It's about recognizing that it's scary, that it's painful, but feeling it and validating it and then still choosing to go ahead. Don't bypass your feelings. Don't bypass your emotions. Face them. And the more you face them and do it, the more proud of yourself you will be that you've actually faced those uncomfortable feelings and emotions. You've actually done what you need to do and you've grown from it. You've learned something from it. I hope pile 1, you can take your card. I send you a lot of love. My website is down below if you ever would like to work with me for tarot therapy or for trauma-informed healing therapy, or if you'd ever like a reading or to join any of my programs for healing. I am on YouTube, and obviously you're on YouTube. I am on Facebook and TikTok, and please give me a follow. It absolutely helps my work. I thank you for joining and for listening. If you're drawn to more piles, that means that there's more messages out there for you. Do watch them. Take care. Hello pile 2 and welcome to your card. So I have decided to do it this way. I feel more comfortable doing it this way. Hopefully this way works, and it means less set up with tables and areas and things like that. So I know that I'm wearing the same clothes as other videos. I'm not here to pretend that I don't do my content all in one day. I do. I'm a very busy person with lots of spiritual therapy sessions and healing sessions and readings. So I'm hoping that if you do enjoy my content, please do like and follow me. It absolutely helps me. My channel is aimed at healing and personal growth and working through the things that are trapping you from creating the life that is more fulfilling for you. That is a bit different from other tarot places and tarot readings, because some of what I bring on here may feel quite dark, but everything that feels dark is ready to be healed and worked through. We can't heal and grow if we only focus on the positive and good. We can't know what it is we want in our future if we don't heal what we need to heal in our present. So I'm truly hoping that you can connect to the work that I'm doing. And this is your card, pile 2, and your reading. So pile 2, what you're being asked to bring out of your shadows is the unbalancedness that you have for meeting everyone else's needs. As a parent, you have a passion for making sure that others are okay. You may work in the field of a helping field, or you work in the field of people. So you're always surrounded of the energies of others. And there is a lot of you that is being given to others, whether that's in your job, as a parent, as a friend. You are overgiving. And this means that you're not balancing between your needs and the needs of others. And when you give from an empty cup, you're not really giving. You are mimicking the love and connection that you're giving. You are going to get stressed and sad and upset and frustrated because you don't have enough in your own cup. So what you're being asked to pull out your shadows for some of you is learning to balance between saying no to others, balance between how much you give of yourself. You're wanting to make other people's life and experience one that is a connection and as much as you can give. I don't know if you're trying to heal wounds with your children that you didn't have healed in your life, and you're trying to give the best that you can. So always support your children, support your friends, listen to them. Or in your work, you're trying to go above and beyond all the time because you know the importance of support. But the biggest flaw with that is when you constantly do it above and beyond yourself, you're not learning the power of meeting your own needs, and you end up overcompensating all of the time. And you teach people, but actually you teach people how to treat you. People do not treat people with respect who always give. And I'll give you examples. Somebody who always gives in overtime is always expected to do overtime. And when they don't do overtime, that is noticed far more than when you do overtime. Because what they've done is they've taken for granted that you're always going to do overtime. A friend that has a friend that is always there and never questions whether they're going to show up or not, then starts to take that friend for granted because they never have to face that friend not being there. But you have to teach people that you're not always available, that you're not always there. And a day off does not mean that you can give that day to somebody else. It means that you need a day off for you. So let's have a look further at what pile 2 needs to bring out of the shadows for healing. So pile 2, you are trying to find the good in life all of the time. And what this means is you are stuck in probably a little bit of martyrhood, in the sense, pile 2, that you are so used to giving so much of yourself, but there is a part of you that feels resentful. And it's asking you and telling you that it's time to start moving forward through this. Actually, pile 1 may be a little bit connected to this pile, because that's very much talking about change. And for you, pile 2, it's very much acknowledging that change is needed for this. But pile 2, you're almost connecting to your energies of those that are going through a lot. And if you don't start replenishing your own energies, so maybe that's your friends are going through a lot, or the people you work with, you're always listening to people's problems. And that leaves you to feel, oh God, tired and pulled down. I feel for you that you are going, it's almost like there's a part of you that feels selfish for self-care. You feel selfish when you do things that meet your own needs. So you are being asked to also look at who you're surrounding yourself with. Are you surrounding yourself with people that are taking from you and taking from you and taking from you? If you surround yourself with takers, you'll always feel like you're being taken from. You have to teach people that they have to learn to give back. And I always give this example. A parent who always says yes to babysitting and never says no then starts to become taken for granted, and the child is always ringing up, can you do it then, can you do it then? And the parent's like, oh my God, I can't because I'm busy, I'll drop everything. And then the parent becomes resentful. And the parent says to the child that actually I'm fed up of doing this all of the time, you're taking me for granted. And then the child gets angry. Well, actually, why didn't you say, you never say? And what happens then is the communication breaks down. The child is taking the parent for granted. The parent is never saying no. But when the parent starts to learn to stand up and say, I'm not okay with this, actually, I am not free, the child then starts to learn to respect the parent, because when the parent does have time, that's brilliant. I can't just expect the parent to be free all the time. And this is kind of an analogy I want to bring to you. It's time for you to, things are good, and maybe you're enjoying work, you may be enjoying being there for your friends, but now it's time to think about you. Maybe you've been there for your children and your partner, or partner and no children, friends, and now it's time for you. Bringing out of your shadows is about connecting to your inner child. Connecting to, what do you want to do in life? What do you want to bring forward? Do you want to spend more time with friends? Do you want to start meeting more friends? Do you want to spend less time doing housework and more time starting a career up that you may want to do? Do you want to go back to college, do a degree? Do you want to get a job? Do you want to change your job? What is it you want to do? Now is the time to really think about your needs. I do feel for you that you are very much being called to look at work and career. So for some of you, you are being asked to look at your job, and some of you may not be working, but you're being called to bring in or start a career or a job that is going to be fulfilling. Start asking yourself that actually, are you holding yourself back? Can you get a little job that would be a little bit fulfilling? You might have some limitations or some disabilities or a disability, but will that stop you doing anything? And for those of you that are working, are you keeping yourself small? I feel that some of you have achieved a lot, but don't recognise the validation of your own achievements, and you get taken for granted in your workspace. That you have so much knowledge and wisdom and experience, but you're actually willing to downplay that all to stay safe in jobs and careers that aren't bringing what you deserve. And I feel for you that you are being you're maybe in a job, and what you need to bring into your shadow is you're in a job where you're underappreciated and underpaid. And now is the time for you to recognise actually, what is it do I want? And this is why I think pile 1 is quite connected to you, because the fear of change comes in. The fear of change, which pile 1 is stopping you from evolving, stepping out and letting go. Wow, King and Queen, you're being asked in your shadows to invoke the energy of masculine and feminine, to start being strong about what it is you want, to allow the Queen of Swords to go, now is my time. Maybe your children have grown up. Maybe you're able to get a different job because you've had a little bit of money and things are paid off, so you can get a job that you enjoy more. Maybe you're able to start to realise that changing your job might be one of the biggest things. And even if it isn't to do with a job, even if it's to do with changing your life, even if it's to do with letting go and starting to realise that your needs are important. The King and Queen says it's like a rebirth for you now. You're going through a time of up-levelling, of bringing out of the shadows that fear that's holding you back. Allow yourself to make a choice and run with it. Stop allowing fear to hold you back and keep you stuck. There's a part of you that says to you, no, you can't do that. You've got to stay in security. So there's a part of you that's chasing your tail but is being asked to find the strength to just go for it. Make that choice. There's really no such thing. If you're following your heart, there's no such thing as a bad choice as such. There's choices that will bring you lessons and blessings, but you learn from everything you experience when you follow your heart. You are being asked to spiritually look at the meaning of lizard. So lizard is a totem spiritual animal that you are being called to look at. This is going to bring you some further insight. But now's the time to not be constantly meeting the needs of others, to not believe that your happiness is not paramount. As parents and friends and co-workers, we believe that other people's happiness is more important than our own. But that's not true. Because other people cannot be as happy if we're not happy. Other people won't respect us if we don't respect us. Allow this journey. So for some of you, there is like a transformation going on, an awakening. So for some of you, you've either had a little bit of a midlife crisis, or you're going through deep mental health where there's an awakening and it's like stepping into the new part of you. For some of you, so there's a pinnacle part in some of your lives where you are stepping into this newness. There's a bit of fear holding you back, people pleasing, worrying what others think. But now is a time to embrace, bring into the shadows, bring out of the shadows even what's holding you back. Bring out of the shadows that fear of making sure that everyone else's thoughts and feelings and beliefs are more important than yours. You can't please people all of the time. And you can please somebody some of the time, but if you try and please other people all of the time, it'll always be against yourself. And people move the goalposts. What made them happy one moment won't make them happy the next moment. So that means that you'll never know how to make another person happy. That's why you have to choose what makes you happy. And that means you may hurt some people along the way, but sometimes we have to hurt another so that we don't constantly hurt ourselves by going against ourselves. I'm hoping that you can take this reading. Please do sit and reflect on what you've been given. These are quite heavy readings sometimes in what it is, the work that needs to be done, but do look at some of my YouTube videos. They work around healing. They work around empowering you to start healing in different ways. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you've enjoyed pile 2. Hello pile 3, and welcome to your pick a card pile 3. What is in your shadow that needs to be brought up for your healing? So this channel that I have created is a healing channel, one of empowerment and personal growth. And the cards, pick a cards that I bring to you are to help you bring up what it is you need to start learning to heal, to feel, and to let go of. That can lead you to a life of personal growth and change and evolution. So there may be other piles that you are drawn to. Please allow yourself to watch those piles if you are drawn to them. Quite often, we are drawn to more than one pick a card. So pile number 3, what you're being asked to bring out of the shadows is, there is a part of you that is stuck in the chaos of not allowing change to transform you. And actually, this is almost like a collective reading for all 3, because number 1 was change, number 2 was the fear of change. And it's weird, and it's almost like this is meant to happen. Maybe all 3 might resonate with you, but it's the card of, when life comes crashing down, you're being asked to recognize what is it you need to learn and grow from. I feel for you, pile 3, that you may be going through deep depression, you may be going through quite a lot of dark times, you may be in something quite deep that feels as if you're not going to get out of it. It feels as if nothing's going to change. And the truth is, nothing changes unless we start working towards changing it. And what I see here is, there has been a life that you've had and the illusion has been knocked off it. And what that means is an ending of a relationship or a friendship or the ending of something big. And it could just be that life has just felt like one big complex feelings that you can't change, that everything doesn't feel great. This card comes in when the foundations are being rocked in your life, but you're not connecting to why. Everything that breaks down is breaking down for a reason. It's breaking down because there is something that needs to be rebuilt from it. But quite often as humans, we get caught in the breakdown part. We get caught in the things that are going wrong. We get caught in why isn't it working? And that leaves us stuck in that. And then you can't transmute that or change that or heal that because you're not working on what do you want to come in? What do you want your life to look like? When relationships break down, we look at how sad we are, how angry we are. And while that needs to happen for grief, we also need to look at what do we want to create? Who do we want to be with in future? Who are we? What have we learned from that relationship? If you don't do any of that work, you'll just keep meeting the same of who you've already met, or you'll stay stuck in, I don't want to meet anyone, I'm sick of meeting the wrong people all the time. That's because you're not learning to understand what is the growth that is meant to have come from the breakdown of that situation. It could be that you're entering into arguments time and time again, that the same arguments with the same people. Instead of allowing yourself to recognize what resolution can come from it, how can we grow from it, there is a part of you that's caught in, because that's mad. Those 2 cards are the very cards from pile 1 and pile 2. It's mad. You're caught in the how things aren't working, how things aren't right. And what you're being asked to bring into your shadow is to start challenging the programming within you. The thought programming that has been conditioned within you. It's not serving you. You're being asked to challenge. When we go through heavy things, our brain starts to be wired for negativity. So pile 3, I can see for you that potentially you may look at things as every time something happens, you'll see the negative in it. Or you're looking out for the negativity, or you're always looking to be on guard to protect yourself from the negativity. But actually, one of the key things you're being asked to do is, yes, grieve and understand what the negativity is, but also what can grow from it. You cannot plant a seed in soil that is not turned over, in soil that is not disturbed, in soil that you have not removed the weeds from. So everything new has to have something old that breaks down. And quite often what breaks down is things we don't want to break down. Friendships and relationships and jobs, and we are so accustomed to how they were that when they break down it hurts. And it's not about bypassing the hurt, but it is about recognizing that what is that hurt teaching you? And here it's you're stuck in the pain instead of feeling the pain. So the natural process of grief and pain is to feel it, to validate it. So you spend time feeling and grieving and crying and validating that this is not good. And then you create a what next. Okay, what do I want next? What am I going to focus on to create some happiness in my life? Do I want to start making my home a bit more homely? Do I want to start spending time with friends? You have to create a completion process of your grief. I'm so sorry. Every time I do these videos, energy just accumulates. So that means that you don't keep slipping back into old behaviours, back into, okay, right, that's all gone wrong, but I'm going to let these other people back in my life. It's almost like there's a part of you that keeps revisiting old cycles. There's a part of you that may go back to old relationships and friendships in the hope that things are changed without working through whether they have changed or not. So what has pile 3 been called to bring out of the shadows? For healing. You are keeping yourself small, pile 3, by invalidating your growth. It's almost like we are and we become who we surround ourselves with. And I'll give you an example. I didn't realise this, but I've lived on a council estate for 20 years, and every time I started to grow and become better, I felt like I had to keep humbling myself, because who was I to want to achieve more, want to achieve better, because other people would be like, oh, look at her, thinks she's better than other people, or she now thinks her shit don't stink. But the truth was, and then I kept humbling myself, and I kept keeping myself small, not reaching out in case of judgments and things like that. And then I had to remind myself that I'm surrounded by myself by people who are wounded and not ready to grow. That doesn't mean that I can't grow. That doesn't mean that I'm not ready to grow. You're being asked to create strength. And that means create strength. You're not going to find it. You don't find strength. Strength isn't just waiting for you for when you're ready for it. You have to create it. You have to find the creation of strength within you to go, I've got to do this. I've got to better my life. And to better my life means I'm going to face the judgments of others that aren't ready to better their life. I've got to find my happiness by allowing what shit has to hit the fan to hit the fan. Quite often, we're scared to say, you may be scared to say how you feel to people because you don't want conflict, but you need that conflict because you need to know where you stand. If there's a friend that is constantly not getting back to you, not letting you know what's going on, leaving you out, if you don't tell that person how you feel because you're afraid of conflict, you will never know where you stand. So they'll either have a go at you and tell you, actually, it's not like that. Then you'll know. And then their behaviour doesn't change. You'll know, well, they don't respect me enough, that actually I'm just going to step back. That's flogging a dead horse. Or they'll get a little bit angry initially, and then they'll go, okay, so when can we see each other? They'll try to change your behaviour so that they can validate your feelings. A friend who you tell that you don't hear from enough, you won't necessarily hear from them all the time, but they may hopefully make to some degree an effort to make sure that you're included in their lives so that you don't feel that as much, or they'll talk to you. Avoiding conflict is avoiding the ability to grow together. And I feel for some of you in pile 3 that you suffer anxiety, where there's fear-based thoughts that are keeping you trapped. So God, 1, 2 and 3, you are very, very similar today. You are very, very similar. I feel that you are being asked to focus. So some of you who have relationships, you're being asked to focus on your loved one, on building a level of depth with that close friendship or love relationship. And those of you that don't have anyone close to you, learning that it's time to bring out of the shadows, time to start connecting with another. Whether that's saying, actually, I do want to meet somebody and now's the time. So I'm going to face the uncomfortableness of stepping out my comfort zone. No one feels comfortable when they're first meeting new people. Nobody. I remember feeling utterly sick every time I went on a date and feeling so anxious. But the more I did it, the more I was open to going out on dates, and the better I felt, and the more I was able to choose whether I wanted to go on a date. But before that, I would avoid all dates because I was too scared. You've got to create the strength to know what it is you want. Your want for your life has to be greater than what you have in your life now. You have to reach an unhappiness that you say, anything is better than this unhappiness now, and that has to be changed. Your happiness is going to come in. You want happiness. Pile 3, one of your biggest things is you want happiness. You really want happiness. But you have to realize that happiness comes. You don't get happiness at the cost of yourself. You don't get happiness with friends. You don't get happiness with anyone or anything if it's going against what you feel internally. So there is an ending of a situation, pile 3. There's endings here, and what's coming out of the shadows is you embracing that endings have to happen. Whatever the ending is, everything has to end so that something new can come in. You just have to recognize that the more you avoid an ending, the more you're avoiding a new beginning. I feel for you, pile 3, that bringing out of the shadows is the ability to learn new ways of communicating. You may be somebody who flits between emotional dysregulation to shutting down. You're being asked here to learn new ways of connecting by facing how you feel with others. Yes, that will create conflict. But if you face it in a healthier way, owning how you feel, when you are not angry, when you're not heightened, you then have to let the other person sit with that. And you have to be willing to sit with that they have to come back to you when they're ready, or if they don't come back to you, that's their stuff. Their behaviour will teach you what place they hold in your life. You've got to have the passion for yourself again, pile 3, the passion for self-care. Self-care isn't just bubble bars and eating nice food. Self-care is boundaries. Self-care is my needs have to come first too, not just yours. Self-care is I am hurting. Can you appreciate that? And can you be there for me? But also, thank you for supporting me. Self-care is what do you want in your life? And I absolutely feel that every one of these piles are interlinked in some way, that some of you may want to watch all of them. I don't know, because I feel so interlinked. You're not allowing the justice to be created in your life. You're stopping yourself from growing, pile 3. You're stopping yourself from achieving a life that is healthier for you because you're almost humbling yourself too much. There's fear for you here. Pile 3, you're being called to work on your mindset. Work on challenging those thoughts. There is a negative thought base because you've been through so much. And the only way you can start healing that negative thought base is by working on learning gratitude in your life, learning to replace the hormones that negative thinking brings and bring the happier hormones in. Connecting with people, oxytocin, cuddling. But bringing the hormones in of really starting to show up to your own life, that produces the healthy, happy hormone. That produces the self-contentment. But you have to be willing to show up to your own life, and this is what you're being called to do. Pile 3, you're being called for your own happiness. Now is the time to show up to your own life, to allow yourself to recognize the self-sabotaging behaviors that you are in, that it is time to start working on. And those self-sabotaging behaviours are a little bit like 1 and 2. It is putting other people's needs before your own. It is humbling yourself too much because you don't think you're worthy. You are going through a transformation, pile 3, that you are actually keeping yourself stuck in because you're afraid of the journey of the transformation. Allow yourself to commit and flow with the transformation. And you will reach levels that you never thought you would reach. Thank you for listening. I hope that you can enjoy or relate to the cards that have been given in this pile. If you would like to work with me on tarot therapy or healing trauma behaviours, then you can access the website below, which will be in the comments. I hope you enjoy my page. Please do follow me if you don't already, and have a great day. Take care.